Now back to serious matters. This time tomorrow, President Cyril Ramaphosa is set to testify at the state capture inquiry. He will speak on matters relating to the ANC. It comes at a time when divisions within the governing party run deep. Ramaphosa served as Jacob Zuma's deputy from 2014 to 2018. Legal journalist Karyn Maughan joins me now to discuss some of the possible questions he could be asked and the implications of his testimony. Karyn, good morning. Thank you for joining me and for sharing your insights. What in particular are you looking forward to from Cyril Ramaphosa's testimony before Justice Raymond Zondo tomorrow?
Well, I think we're dealing with kind of big thematic issues within the ANC and you know, how it has exercised its power over our democracy for, you know, indeed, you know, the period over the Zuma presidency, but indeed before. You know, these issues of, we've seen evidence coming out again and again and again about the management of parastatals, the decisions that were made to remove people, allegedly on the basis of some of the evidence that has been laid to make way for certain corrupt deals to be done. We know that the first precursor to that, of course, was with Transnet, that, you know, there was similar looting of other SOEs, including Eskom. So really, what was the process that led to the party making those decisions? And were they, as some witnesses have alleged, simply a manifestation of what private interests, including the Gupta family, wanted to achieve? I mean, Cyril Ramaphosa was a pivotal figure in all of that, because as the deputy president, SOEs and their management fell under his control. He was part of the Eskom war room, as it was. And what did he think when some of these appointments were happening and some of these decisions were being taken? And again, that issue of how people were selected for their positions. We know that early on in the life of the inquiry, there was a lot of evidence around the concept of cadre deployment and how it was pursued. I expect that he will be facing a lot of questions over that. And then, of course, the very, very sexy questions, not sexy for the ordinary populace, but certainly from a journalistic point of view, about these issues of the ANC receiving vast amounts of funding from people that received huge tenders from government. We've heard that in relation to Bosasa, we've heard that in relation to PRASA, we've heard that in relation to a number of other SOEs. So that kickback culture, which has been spelled out by the evidence of some of the witnesses, I think he is going to face a lot of questions about, and indeed about the ANC's finances and how they made sure that the party was not effectively getting those kind of payments as a conduit for large-scale and economically damaging corruption.
Do you expect that the questions around Bosasa will dominate the day, or perhaps the 2 days, Karyn? It's not the first time that he will be asked these questions, particularly around donations to his CR17 campaign, but also donations towards the ANC, including then Bosasa, which is now known as Africa Global Operations, hosting an elections operations center. Do you expect that that will dominate? The first time that we'll be able to see body language in him answering under oath. He has answered, of course, in Parliament, but, you know, that performance under oath before a commission of inquiry on these key questions.
Yes, I mean, obviously, you know, the Constitutional Court, as we well know, has reserved judgment on the Public Protector's attempt to challenge the dismissal and invalidation of her CR17 campaign report, which is continuously within the sparring field of factional politics, quite the profound weapon utilized against him. And I expect that, yes, he will have to face those kind of questions. He knows he will face them, and it's really about how strong and methodical the inquiry is in putting those questions to him. Because it's not just about the money he received, it's about this prevalence of a culture within the ANC that effectively enabled people who were direct beneficiaries of highly questionable and extremely lucrative contracts to as it were, lubricate their way through the system by making sure that well-placed, powerful people were benefiting from their largesse. So there is a bigger question here, and while he has always maintained, look, I didn't know who I was getting the money from, I made an innocent mistake, that in itself is a question. How does the ANC then ensure that it is not getting corrupt funding? And if, is that denial of knowledge really that believable? Also, a bigger question as well, we heard in the State Security Agency evidence that the ANC may have benefited from SSA funding for its elections, that, certain factional issues were also played out within the SSA structures. So, this isn't just about private beneficiation, it's about taxpayers' money being utilized allegedly to fund the ANC's interest in election campaigns.
That's an important theme, Karyn, and thank you for pointing it out. I mean, I was not necessarily thinking about it, the use of state resources within ANC factional fights, including the security agencies. Lastly, Karyn, the issues around parliamentary oversight and holding the executive to account. That's also likely to be a key theme, right? That nexus between Luthuli House and who the people in Parliament account to. Is it Luthuli House or to the people out there who elected them, and fidelity to the Constitution?
Well, that is a big question. I mean, it's something that came up during the vote of no confidence in the former president. It's something that continues to recur, this language about where does your loyalty lie? Ultimately, is it to the Constitution or is it to the party? And I expect the president is going to have to face very tough questions, given the level of evidence we have, over serious ethical and legal and deficits within the party, which often manifest as distinctly criminal behavior, whether the party has a loyalty first to itself or to the citizenry in terms of addressing that. And in the broader sphere, it's all very good to pay lip service to taking on corruption. But what is the ANC doing in real practical terms to make sure that it doesn't sit back and wait for criminal trials, court rulings, and other such legal issues to make up its mind for it before it actually deals with the rot that allegedly exists within its ranks?
All right, as they would say in isiXhosa, amasi abekwe elangeni, umphokoqo unexhala. It's kind of difficult to translate. Karyn Maughan, thank you for that. But I suppose if I had to translate it, English, man, I guess I would say the stage is set. The stage is set. It's about to get real, as people would say. Hopefully, it's about to get real with President Cyril Ramaphosa testifying at the State Capture Commission of Inquiry. And my hope is that he really does faces the tough questions that he should answer as the head of the African National Congress, the governing party.